Yo, yo, what up, what up? Y'all know what it is. We are live right now. CG rocking with y'all like you know the usual. I know the flower chair. I'm gonna get the flower chair out the way, man. It's it's interrupting my picture. All right, cool. We're gonna do it like that. You had to do it one-handed. You know what it is. One-handed just for them. But yeah, for the most part, all we're gonna do is we're gonna dive into some topics in this session, and we're going, you know what I'm saying, we're going to just do it how we do it every show. So at times we'll jump off on tangents if it helps it make more sense to you. We might just stay right on track and try and deliver accordingly, just so y'all could get it the right way that we originally planned it. But again, if we spill out onto a tangent, just let it be. It's usually to all jog your mind and get you to understand what we're trying to preach out, or teach. I say preach, but teach, whichever one you choose to adhere to. But check this out. What we're going to do is we're going to dive into a few topics that I did want to kind of touch on. Now, where we last left off is I last told y'all we was going to dive into feelings, getting the blessings. I know we tapped into it somewhere around the second video. I got a little deeper in the third video, and then we'll get a little deeper into this video. All right. Now, y'all been rocking with me for a minute, and what I really want to stress to everybody is I definitely greatly appreciate the fact that y'all sat down, took the time to listen. The fact that the likes, the comments, the views, everything is running up so high right now, it's making so much sense to me. Why? Because my mind projected that I would actually see this type of result. And it's the result that I'm seeing, where I'm breaking off with people actually listening, gaining an understanding, and learning how to utilize the power of God within themselves to be, have, and do anything they want. You know what I'm saying? So that's the idea. That's the train of thought that we on. Of course, y'all know what it is. We're going to bring silence in the building. But before we dive in, I just want to fill y'all in. We're going to tap into some topics today that's going to be real touchy. You know what I mean? Y'all been rocking with me for a minute. I need y'all to sit down, keep your cool. If you feel like anything shakes you up or rubs you the wrong way, take the time to listen out so you could gain an understanding of why things are the way that they are. All right. Why that this, you might find and feel that this route that I'm taking and that we all taking this journey, yo, bro, it might be the way out. It might be the way out, right? So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna bring in silence. We're gonna bring silence in. Let me connect it on the 2 and 2. Yo, yo, what up, what up? We got silence in the building. Let's get it.
What up?
So we're gonna jump it off quick. All right, I like the little 3-minute opener. Gave the appreciation. Silence, if you was listening or not. I just dived in, gave a lot of appreciation for everybody that's been rocking with us, that's been coming back since that first video when I was talking different. You know what I'm saying? Saying things that are a little outside of the norm, but people took the time to sit down, wait, feel out what I was saying, and they learned that there's some truth to what I'm really spitting. All right. Now, I want to get into this with y'all because I thought this was a good example to I got 2 things I want to jump the show off with. One of them is politically related, and one of them is related to an experience that I happen to live through in my life. And what I want y'all to really know and understand and see is that this thing, this belief thing that we keep talking about, it's on every single video. I got to get you to understand that there's a way to activate it. All right. It's not like what you might think. Like, let's say you was a little kid, right? You're trying to ride your bicycle, you know what I'm saying? You got your pops took the training wheels out, Mom, Dukes, Pops, whoever was the next one up, they took the training wheels out. They trying to have that belief pushed on you to rely on yourself, not the training wheels, not anything else. You know what I mean? That level of belief is very similar to what I described, but there's a way to actually utilize it and get it to actually activate and really come into play in your life, in your experience. So I'm gonna give you this quick rundown. So you know what I'm saying? Do the little overnights, right? I'm working an overnight shift. Coming home, bro. So when I'm coming home, of course, you just did a whole overnight shift. My shift could involve anywhere between 8 to 12 hours. So when you pushing that 12-hour joint, you best believe when you pulling up to the crib after 12 hours, bro, and it's an overnight, you definitely gonna feel some fatigue. You know what I'm saying? And I hit the gym and I got the kids and I do a lot of other stuff. So it works on your body when you add it all up. So I hit a point where I'm just getting to that point where I'm feeling very, very fatigued. So what I used to do in my old state of mind is I would ride to the crib, and on my mind, I would always tell myself, don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. You riding or whatever. You're like, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. So the idea in mind, when you actually utilize the mind science, remember the mind science is based on what you say. All right. Those words have power. So you got to realize that just telling yourself not to go to sleep is not necessarily utilizing the power of the mind, because what you ideally want to tell yourself is the opposite of that train of thought. Don't go to sleep could actually be triggering your mind to go to sleep, regardless of that don't that's sitting in there. The idea you want to come with is the opposite of that. So my old state of mind, I used to tell myself, don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep. Now, mind you, I already veered off the road, bumped into curbs, this, that, and the third. I didn't end up making it 100% successful in not falling asleep and not hitting anything. Now, what I did do recently, based on the mind science, is I trained my way of thinking to actually think the opposite. Instead of telling myself, don't go to sleep, I actually tell myself, I am full of energy. I am energy. I am on top of everything I do. I'm not falling asleep. You know what I'm saying? None of that's meant to occur. I actually start to envision myself walking in my crib, making it home safe. I see everything that I want to be and have and do through my five senses in my subconscious, and that's what comes out to the light. So as I'm riding back, it's a completely different state of mind that I'm riding with when I'm telling myself I am full of energy, opposed to don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep, don't go to. Before you know it, it's like go to sleep, go to sleep, 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 boom, you hit something. Last thing on your mind was sleep, sleep, sleep. Whereas the idea in training the mind is to say, I am full of energy, energy, energy. That's that word that you want to sit and settle. So, bro, when I rolled to the crib, bro, I was wide-eyed talking about I'm full of energy, this, that, and the third. And regardless of if you need to raise your voice, you might be in the car. So remember, you're trying to help this impress on the subconscious. So maybe you need to scream, I have energy at the top of your lungs in the whip in order to convince yourself and build the belief that you actually do have energy, right? But if you sit back and say, I am energy, I am full of energy, I am full of energy, it's working for you, but you got to follow through with the belief. Are you in full belief as you say it in that low tone, riding with that low voice? So if you want to build that empowerment of belief, you might find yourself raising your voice, raising the pitch, building some aggression in it. Before you know it, after all that hoorah, shouting and hollering, bro, you wide-eyed, you riding, you like, yo, what's next? What's next? It's how you activate the power of belief through I am. I am full of energy gets me further than don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep, 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 and then you're gone. Understand it, that it works, and it's an impression that you're trying to make on the subconscious, regardless of if you do it through raising the pitch of your voice or the volume of your voice. Whatever you do, crack the window, scream it out. At the end of the day, whatever you tell yourself is what you're going to become. So telling yourself you are full of energy is a direction you're going to end up going in. And you might find that's the direction you start to push in. And that's why your voice is increasing. That's why you're starting to actually shout and yell, because that yelling is backed up behind you wanting to build the belief. You wanting to, if I'm starting to get all lit and you know what I'm saying, jumping up and down, I'm feeling like I'm getting energy, right? I'm gaining energy as I'm doing that. So you'll find that your words will start to play into your actions. So I wanted to give y'all that experience because I thought that was critical, because I was riding home the other day and it was such a different ride in comparison to the experience that I used to face. I used to look at that ride, bro. I used to do that 12-hour shift and be like, damn, that ride is gonna be crazy. I already did all the measures, bro. I already chewed the bubble gum. I already did the sunflower seeds. I already did the crack the windows. I already did the turn the music up, crank up the AC. None of them physical things worked. What ended up working for me was what I was telling myself. Silence, you want to add anything to that? Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it's like we said before. It's a matter of just allowing those physical, and of course, you know, if you, this is not something that you would want to do. You don't want to push your body to any extremes. You know, just using mind science randomly and really for no important reason. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
CG used it, you know, at a point that he needed to use it, but it's not, you know, like this guy's
Exactly.
making a practice out of
Exactly.
not getting the proper amount of sleep that he may need. You know, it's just when you find yourself in times that you have to defy the odds and go against what you're physically dealing with in order to get to a better place. That power of belief is going to be the most strongest thing that you can use in that situation. So
Yep.
I think that's really what it is. And with the power of belief, it just goes so much further into the universe. You know, really, I like to look at it as the power of belief really changing the things that are outside of us. You know, when we notice that things are lining up, you know, in ways that, you know, wouldn't normally line up. You know, we always notice that there's just really odd things that happen in our lives, and you know, we may call it a coincidence. We may, you know, say, you know, it's strange or whatever we want to call it. But a lot of times those moments come from the power of belief, because the power of belief shakes up statistics and what normally would occur. So that's what a lot of times that's what people are experiencing when they see something happen that's so out of the ordinary, whether good or bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I think one of the sayings in the lesson is, um, I guess it could be reference to things, people, or circumstances. But I remember, if I'm saying it correctly, that you would say, oh, to the degree of like, you are the way that you are because I am the way that I am. So the idea in mind is that based on what I do internally is what controls everything outside of me. If that makes sense, I'm gonna start breaking that down. Silence, you want to add anything to that before I get into it?
No, you can keep going.
So basically, getting you to understand that the things around you are the way that they are because of how you are. That's the number one thing you need to process and understand. Once you gain that understanding, you start to develop the understanding of things happening to you being your fault. That could be a great thing as long as you push it in a positive direction. That could be a great thing as long as you push it in a positive direction. So the idea behind things outside being the way that they are because I am the way that I am definitely tells you that the empowerment is within you to control everything out there. Now we talk about this thing like magical stuff. I'm about to get deep. We 14 minutes in, I'm about to get deep. Some people, hey, I'm about to take some shots, boom, boom, boom. So if some of y'all get knocked down, I see y'all in the end. All right. If some of y'all can hold out and understand, this is where we've always wanted to come for a long time. But it's been the fact that we needed to work y'all in a few streams before we could unfold this information. Now, this is where I'm gonna get Silence to really kick off with some good information, some bombs for y'all to really gain an understanding of this I am principle. But the idea behind the I am principle is to understand that it is, yo, let me see if I can find out what that is. Hold on. Is to see if you can understand that the I am is also understanding the power of God. All right. Now, we got to hit y'all with some of the spiritual scriptures and also hit you from the science perspective. I like both angles. I like the spiritual side because that gives you some reason and understanding, some relation. I'm sure you can relate to the Bible. Why? Because that's a book that you know to have a lot of importance. It's here for a reason. It's been around for X amount of time, this, that, and the third. It's been written by this person. It's set out by this person. And it's known to be of greatness. So just with that being said, having references come from that area with direct correlation to what I'm trying to explain scientifically will help you to build the full understanding that we're looking for. All right. And now it's all getting like, y'all probably like, damn, CG, where you going with this, CG? I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Where we going? All right. So the idea is to know and understand that the power through anything and everything that happens, the power through cause is going to be one. Right? One power. We all know there's one power that affects everything. I keep telling y'all that there's one power and it's going to be God and I am. There's one thing. I keep saying everything is responsible for the next thing. And we keep linking it to two things. All right. God and I am. You gotta understand. Yo, I'm telling you, hey, for those that's gonna go, I see you later. I am is God. Why is I am God? Because I am creates anything. I am is infinite. I am is actually formless. When you utilize I am and add anything positive to the end, that's what makes anything become. It'll make something become something, right? The mystics say in the Bible, let the weak say, I am strong. Okay? That's the idea in mind that you want to follow through with. How do we get strong? I am. It doesn't say, let the mystics say this, or I'm going to go lift weights and I'll get strong. No, not necessarily. Some people lift weights and don't get strong. The idea behind getting strong is going to be what you actually tell yourself, because what you tell yourself you are is what you will become. If you told yourself that you were weak, that's the destiny that you're bound to get into. So understanding that the I am is one. Silence, before I go in anymore, you want to add into anything? Because those who are still with me, hey, we about to make this make more sense. Go ahead and spill
Yeah,
any to really help it make more sense to them.
yeah, yeah. I wanna add on to that. Like, well, in the moment that you use I am, you're taking the name of God. That's pretty much what it can be looked at as. Is you taking the name of God and you taking on the power of God. Now, when you say I am God or I am whatever it is that you want to say, you aren't saying that the person, your human self, is God. And I know a lot of people have this misconception of someone saying that they are God, having the understanding or the idea that they can control everyone else outside of them,
Mm-hmm.
um for their own personal gain.
The thought,
And
the thought. We all have God and the power within us. Go ahead.
to control our experience. We are God of our experience. So it's not a matter of your I amness controlling or taking control of someone else's life and taking using your power to manipulate them. It's to use it. It's for you to use in order to bring things into your life. It's you taking on the consciousness of being, of existence.
That's what
And
I
that's
am.
what I am is.
Consciousness, being. That's actually knowing. It's the sense of awareness. Knowing what you are is what I am is. So what you do is you add. Y'all ready for the bomb? Ready? Yo, get the pin out. Get the pin out. Yo, you ready? So the I amness, right? What you do, y'all remember when you were a little kid, your mom would tell you not to take the Lord's name in vain. She'll tell you, no, don't take the Lord's name in vain by saying, oh my, and to whomever it offends, I won't say it. You know what I'm trying to say. But let's put it in real context right now, and let's see the more in-depth side of it. If I explain to you that, and listen, if I explain to you that I am is God, I am is formless, and whatever you add on to I am, you become that. That's what's making you what you are, is the I amness. When you add something negative to I am, you are downplaying God. You are taking the Lord's name in vain. To say I am and add something negative to it, you are taking the Lord's name in vain. If I am is God and I am can get you anything you want, what are you doing requesting things you don't? Why are you requesting things you don't want? Why are you saying I am this and I am that? Now, let me give you in context in real life what it really looks like, because I see it all the time. I seen it the other day at work. I picked up a lady, we doing a little ride or whatever, and I picked this lady up and she forgets her keys. And she says, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. That's her exact words. You see people get into faulty situations and things that they can't get out of, and they call themselves out for what they think that they are. I am this, or I am whatever, but it's to downplay I am. That's never the idea you ever want to have in mind. You only add positive to I am because I am is what you become. If you add something negative to I am, you become that, and you don't want to become negative. Are we on the same page? I am gets you everything you want. Again, if you are sick, you must say, I am well. In order for you to change any of your feelings from one thing to the next, you have to become that. You have to add I am to that. If you're a bad person, how do you become good? You have to say I am good. All right? You have to say that in order to change over.
I want to
Go ahead.
not to cut you off, but
No, that's cool.
even in the case where you have, let's say you have a person who doesn't want to take on the responsibility of saying what they are. What tends to happen, you don't want to say what you are, or you can't identify with how you feel or what you feel or what you want to feel. That person is going to be swayed by the world and whatever the world is presenting to them.
Correct.
Whatever experiences the world delivers to them, instead of creating their own. Even the person who decides that they're tired and doesn't get the job because they overslept and they were late to the interview, even that person's gonna face the experiences that relate to them telling themselves that they're tired.
Because this is the bomb. Go ahead.
But that person who does not make a decision at all as to what they are or what they feel or what they want to feel, that person is definitely going to get taken in the direction that anyone else really creates for them.
Yo, let me sum it up. I mean, go ahead. Finish out what you're going to say.
No. Go ahead.
Yo, let me sum it up just like this. Your mind. Look, bro. Your mind got the metabolism everybody wants. All right. Your mind's metabolism is at a rapid rate. It is constantly eating and it never fills up. All right. It never fills up. There's no time where your mind says, all right, we good. No more can come in. Just fall back. So your mind is actually taking in every little bit that comes in. Your mind eats constantly. What are you feeding it? Are you feeding it those political videos that make you sway and lean in a certain direction so you start feeling and talking and acting a certain way? Or do you want to lean more in the direction of where you're actually hitting your goals, executing, making money, starting businesses, building ideas? Or are you right in the middle and you're kind of confused and you don't know what direction you need to go in, the confused guy, I'm telling you, he's just as bad as the guy who's doesn't know what's going on. Because that confused guy is letting the world, is letting his mind take in the food of the world. I don't let my mind take in the food of the world. I get the food that I seek is best. And that is what I put into my mind. So that is the result that I see. I had a guy the other day, now that we into the whole God thing and stuff like that, scenario we wanted to touch on a long time ago. All right. Y'all still rocking with me? I gotta be saying, damn, but it's making so much sense though. Y'all ready for heaven and hell? Because we gotta go there, and then we gonna finish it out with the DEVI, you know who. Yeah. But listen, so I was talking to my man the other day. I be chopping it up with him all the time, right? And he started to tell me how crazy the world was. And I know when I check in on my CG account, if I go into the subscriptions and I start flipping through, I could get a taste of what the world is really all about. But what I also took into realization is that if I didn't put my mind on it, is that still my world? If I'm not seeing it, hearing it, or thinking about it, is that still my world? So I put it to the test. And I remember I went on vacay for a little while back, before I dropped out. I dropped out, you know what I'm saying, off the YouTubes for like 3 months. And then I had a vacay that put me out for a little bit. I noticed on this vacay that I had some time to push the politics and stuff like that aside. And I had more time to reflect on myself and what I wanted to accomplish. And I noticed during that time, when I was able to X out the politics, what it ended up doing to my mind is it started to make me feel, think, and create a heaven of my experience. Okay, what do I mean by heaven? I mean, there were no killings, there were no shootings. I didn't know of them. Now you might come in and say, no, but wait, over there on 42nd Ave, up top, out in BK, out in Queens, out in Manhattan, out in Nevada, you just start calling locations in regards to things or situations that have occurred. But what you're going to take and notice that comes into realization is that if you never actually put it in your mind, it's not to say that it didn't happen. It's to gain the understanding that it didn't happen in your life, your mind. I'm telling you, it sounds like, wait, what? I mean, wait, you're telling me like it didn't happen or it did happen? Listen closely. It didn't happen to the guy that didn't download it into his mind. Y'all got a lot of stuff. I have my fallout, you know what I'm saying? My people that's been rocking with me, and then, you know, you go off to the next man. Nothing on that. I'm just saying there's some people that, you know, if I'm not giving y'all no updates, you got to go to somebody else. So you go in and you check any other updates, and then you start to notice like, okay, all this is happening. And then I noticed on my end that I wasn't checking those updates. And it's almost like those things weren't happening. I started to become happier, a more happier person. I wasn't aggravated about the crime that was going on in the world and the things and the people and the cops and the protesting and this and the that and the third. I wasn't concerned with that. What I was visually seeing was the situations I put myself in, right? Good places, good environment. I was on vacay, so I was cooling, you know what I mean? So I was really seeing what I was seeing. When I didn't take my mind and have it reach out to, hey, what's going on all the way out in New York? Remember, I'm out in Texas. What I really should be concerned with is what I'm doing in Texas with myself, my family, and how we getting off to the next step, next goal, and how we becoming more prosperous. That's where my concern should really be. Now, what's going on with the next man out in New York or whatever the spot is that my real concern, care, where I should utilize my mind power, attention, and things like that? What I came to realization and found out, and wifey would tell me like, damn, you hella upset at times when you be dealing with the politics, because you come around crew. Some of my people is liberal, and you be feeling some type of way. Not that you want to, but it's deep down embedded inside because of all the stuff you talk online. You know what I mean? And that's truth. There's truth to that. There'd be a little bit of animosity because I know they trying to get my kids up and rent this, that, and the third type of school and put me in situations that I don't want to be in, right? So that's where my mind would be at. So my train of thought would be somewhere along the lines of negative. So what I tried to do is I tried to X things out in order to see if I could almost put myself in heaven. So what I started to say is like, damn, it's like heaven is where I'm at, but hell is what I make out of my situation, right? Because if I make my situation bad, remember, it's mind science. So I'm controlling it with my mind. If I make my situation bad with my mind through the things that I put in, that's the result that I'll expect. So the fact of the matter is, when God put us all here, he created everything perfect, right? So he put us here with nothing to really go on. He put us here with the thought of being in heaven. But what ended up happening is things started to happen that made us feel like we were in hell. All those expressions that you might find to be a normal emotion is not a normal spiritual divine emotion that God has placed you here with. He has actually placed you here with happiness, love, success, all that good stuff is what he placed you here with. The sadness, the tired, the angry, that's something else. And when you're in that state of mind, you're in hell. Okay.
You
Go
can
ahead.
just look at it. Just look at a baby. I mean, when a baby's born, the baby doesn't want to do anything bad to anybody. The baby has no ill intention for anyone. Look at it as the youngest. As people are, in their infancy. I mean, they don't have any ill intention. So how does someone grow up and become a killer? How do people go out there and do horrible things? I mean, let's pay attention to how many horror movies are being marketed. Of course, it's around Halloween now, so we're going to see them on a whole nother level. But if you think about how often, and I mean, I remember a time when you would see advertisements. I don't watch too much TV, but when I do see advertisements for movies, it seems like it's always a scary movie, and this is any time of the year now. So I noticed that there's been an increase of horror that's being shown, and a lot of that stuff adds up to the horrible things that you see happen in the world. We really have to be able to identify where some of these things are coming from, and when we talk about all of this stuff, it's really for people to program themselves. A lot of people don't want to think of themselves as programmable, but they are being programmed in one way or another. What we're talking about is just giving you the ability to program yourself instead of having these external things programming you, and these things that are outside of you that are of the world programming you. So it's not for someone to look at as them wanting to get away from being entertained, but you have to focus on how that is gonna play out in your mind after you watch that movie.
Yep. And what it is as a man thinks, so is he. So careful with what you download into your mind, whether it be that scary movie or whatever it is. And again, heaven is going to be what you make of your situation and your experience based on your mind and what you can project. Hell is what you can experience if you end up going down that wrong path, that area that you feel like you don't have the control, things start to come in. That's more of the hell that you're going to get into. So now you're probably saying, well, okay, now we get into this heaven, hell, what's going on? Where's God? Where's the DEVI? Where's what's going on? What's happening? And your mind's starting to jog. So check me out. So when we talk about heaven and hell, the definition in terms of mind science is going to be just that. The idea behind the mind science is that the power of God is within you. With the thought being said that the power of God is within you, you know that it's within you, it's within your mind. Within your mind, it's utilizing the power of I am. If you utilize the power of I am, you can become anything you want to become. So now you're probably saying, so where's God? You're telling me that heaven is what I'm making of this situation. Hell is what I get into and get out of. Where's God in the whole thing? Well, God is said to be in this place and position. Let's say it like this. You are a fish, and God is you're a fish in water and you're looking for God. God's basically the water. He's all around you, which is an understanding that a lot of people would say and think. Whatever led you to believe the guy in the sky? It's partially having to do with the religion. Silence, if you want to add to it.
Yeah, I think a way to look at that, the whole fish in the ocean, it's almost as if like a man looking for God outside of him.
There you go.
Like,
that's how it's
it's
said.
like
Man,
a fish. Yeah, it's like a fish. It's like a fish looking for
say
water.
That's how you say
it's like a fish looking for water, and
yes.
God dwells inside of us. God is us in action. God, we are God in action. It's a better way to look at it. If God has a character, it would be who we are. And that's why we ought to have that spiritual or divine awareness, because we should be able to reflect and imitate the perfect mind of God. When things happen, when negative things happen to us, we have to take on the idea that it was meant to happen that way. Now, if it was something that was unpleasant or maybe not in direction of what you wanted, or in line with what you wanted, then you may have to rethink what it is that you would want to get out of your future experience. But in that moment, you have to be happy and grateful for whatever it is that you're experiencing, even if it may appear as negative, because most of the time it's going to lead to something positive. That's all that life is. It's just a whole bunch of experiences, and our mind allows our human mind allows us to look at these experiences as negative, as bad, because a lot of times it's because someone else is looking at it that way. And that's why we're constantly talking about taking on your own mind, your own thoughts, and your own independent way of thinking. Now, when a kid falls, a lot of times when that kid falls, if you look at a kid fall, a young kid, a lot of times, I have kids, they will look up at whoever saw them fall and see how you react before they actually react. So sometimes these negative experiences are only being looked at as negative because the rest of, or someone outside of us, is looking at it as negative, and it quickly programs us.
Yeah, that's definitely the case in the situation that I've experienced having kids. Is a simple fact that the kids do look to you, and they look to that next, you know what I'm saying? And where I'm going with the whole thing, where I'm kind of trying to trigger it so I could kind of get it to the people and understand, is your Google reviews. Okay, let's go there with it. And I want to bring it to everybody's understanding. Like, I no longer deal with Google reviews. Why? Why don't I deal with the Google? Why do I pull up to the restaurant with 1 star? Because my mind controls my experience. I don't care how many bad days all those other people had. They had bad days because they listened to the first man that said he had a bad day. They said, damn, he gave them 1 star, but let me try it out. He said the food's bad, but I'm gonna still try it out. You know what? Food might be bad, but let me see what I can get. There's doubt on how they're thinking and how they're approaching the situation. So before you know it, they get food and their mind is already triggered and positioned to run on a train of thought. So when they get the food, that's exactly what they start to feel and expect. That's what they believe. The doubt is starting to be there. So that's always something you want to keep in mind when you start to see someone else carrying out an experience that you hear out, but you say to yourself, that's your experience, but not mine. They tell you, yo, don't go to that restaurant. Yo, that's bad service over there. That's your experience, but not mine. They say, yo, don't go to that club. It's not popping. That's your experience, not mine. It's in every shape, way, and form gonna always be their experience in comparison to yours, because your experience will be based on what you project and manifest. And the moment you hear out what they say and let it make an impression on your mind, it can alter your belief and make you start to believe what they're saying because they're telling you something based off of an experience. And the last thing you want to do is take another man's experience and try to dictate your experience as being the same. And that's actually doubting the power of your own mind, which is what you're supposed to utilize to project exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, and then what you just explained was really like what happens in a case where someone says, okay, well, yeah, my friend told me that this restaurant was horrible, and I ended up going to it, and it was horrible, you know, and I should have listened to him. He told me, and you take on this approach where you want to seek guidance from people through these reviews or through someone else's experience, and once that person has programmed you to think that you'll have that experience or that there's a possibility of that experience taking place, then you will. That's almost what's likely to happen. That's almost what's likely to happen. So yeah, it's good that you touched on that. You know, to allow people to understand that it is going to go the way you're thinking it's going to go. We're not saying that you know, it's going to be
We're not
different.
saying that it's not going to go the way that the Google review said. It's
Exactly.
going to go the way the Google review said if you allow it to go that way based on your mind and what you perceive. Usually, if you take someone's experience and let it make an impression on your mind, it'll alter your belief that you're going to have a good time. Every time you pull up, you always have on your mind that you're going to have a good time. Until that Google review comes in and you're like, well, damn, I mean, I thought we were off to fine dining and a fancy date, but they said that the food be burnt and the cook is bad and they fell a little short on the fries. I mean, all types of things will start to alter your own belief. And now that doubt will set in and you get that order and you're like, damn, it was exactly like the Google review said. It's exactly what I got. But what you got is what your mind projected because you let those things make an impression on your mind. I don't check no Google reviews, bro. I pull up every restaurant. I don't care what the Google reviews say. Every restaurant I pull up to, I have the best time. I get the best waiter. I get my food the fastest. I get it all because it's all based on what my mind projects. I mean, you want me to do the YouTube live? You want me to do the YouTube live? Pull up to the restaurant, be like, yo, watch me make this experience the greatest one ever. It's clearly what's projected in the mind. All right. We got off on that train of thought, but where we last left off with was heaven and hell experiences, what you make of it, things like that. We talked about where God is, you know, where God is happens to be a fish that's looking for water. A fish in the sea looking for water is man looking for God. He's pretty much all around you at the end of the day. So with that idea in mind, it's getting you to gain an idea and believe that God is thought. So who's the devil? What's the devil? What's the devil? What's all that? What's all that? Who is he? What is he? Y'all ready for it? All right. So the devil's the devil's going to be broken down as a conscious state of mind. It's a state of mind. It's a conscious thought. It's actually going to be broken down to be looked at as this. Anytime you observe the DEVI, you know who, you never actually acknowledge that guy. You only speak down on that thought in a negative way. Because if you ever talk about the DEVI, you know who, as what is, you are making him something. Okay? Again, if you speak on the devil for what he is, you say, oh, the devil's like this, or the devil's like this, or the devil's like this, he like this, he like this, he like this. By you having all this definition of him, you are making him something. He is something because of the definition you have created of him. If you only have negative things to say about him, is where you downplay him and make the DEVI, you know who, nothing. How do you make the DEVI, you know who, nothing? You downplay him, and all you talk about is what he's not. All you talk about is what he's not. Just deal with that. and he doesn't exist. If you talk about what he is, then he exists to you. If he exists to you, you have two gods. You have two people. There's two people. If he exists to you, there's somebody on this sideline and there's somebody on this sideline. I told y'all, everything that's happening to man is based on one cause, the power of God. The power of God is through thought. I am. Okay? If you utilize the devil in any way, shape, or form, you're pushing the cause on an idol God, on something else. You say, oh, I didn't do that because the devil made me do it. Oh, I didn't do this because the devil. Telling people about what he does and what he is makes him something to you. Making him something to you makes him an idol God. Having two gods, it's not how we roll. It's just one. The power of cause is based on one power in itself, and that is I am. Okay? Now, the next place that we need to go in is how does this, so now and I'm going to kind of be off for a little bit. So now we're kind of thinking like, damn, CG got me going, CG. What we talking about here? It'll take time to sink in. I mean, I'm sure it's making sense now, but it took time for me. It'll take time for you. But know and understand that everything that I'm telling you is only to get you to build an understanding that you are developing the power within yourself to be, to have, and become, to do, to have, and become anything you want to be, to do, to have, all of the above. So that's the idea in mind. I'm not telling you come on board with me and religion, this, that, and the third. I'm helping you think for yourself. So we covered who God is. We covered the reasons, the cause behind everything that's happening. We talked about we talked down on who the DEVI, who is. We, you know what I mean? We explained all that. We dipped into the heaven and hell. So now that y'all have this gain and understanding, we got to get into the blessings backed up behind the feelings. All right, that was the main topic of today's show. So 47 minutes in, anybody still rocking? Y'all know what it is. We're going to keep it going. But I definitely want to let y'all know if we spill into a little bit more than an hour, if silence needs to go, I'm going to continue the show. But I'm going to let it rock all the way. Let me see. We got 13 here, 13. A little bit longer than the hour's original time. I'm going to let it ride for. All right. So now that we have summed all that stuff up, and if y'all have any questions, feel free to drop it in the box below to gain an understanding of what we're trying to say. But we got to get y'all to understand that feelings gets the blessing. All right. Silence, you remember the last example you just said? You just now said something. I'm losing it right now. But it ties into feelings getting the blessing. Yeah, I can't remember.
It would go deep into the story about Randy.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, you know what?
Well,
I'm gonna take it. I was gonna take it in original direction of So what I do with the feelings getting the blessing is I'm gonna give it to y'all from a spiritual aspect.
I think positive is better. Maybe positive feeling would get the blessing, or whatever. Yeah, we get the blessing.
Well, positive feeling to a degree, because then what I stress in feelings getting a blessing is I like to use. It's not the best to use in regards when we're talking about making an impression on your mind. It's not the best thing to say, but it's one of the most extremes that people could really understand. And I like to use, even though we don't want to think about it to the fullest degree, but I like to use a situation like, let's say, a bank robber or something as extreme as a serial killer, right? And I like those extremes because I like for y'all to also recognize that, I mean, come on, if we're talking about a serial killer, they got to go to the utmost degrees to try to take this man down. They got to take him down, right? So for a long time in my life, I would always look at situations in regards, like in politics and things like that. I would always ask myself, why do situations and things unfold the way that they do? Like when a serial killer goes out or a bank robber goes out, you know, bank robbers like, man, whatever, you rob the bank, yo, the other bank down the street gonna just replenish the funds. That's why I stress the serial killer route, because those lives don't come back. So you go to the utmost degree yo, you get that man. We gotta get him. We gotta get him. So when a serial killer goes into like their second kill, third kill, seventh kill, some of them go into like 8 kills, 12 kills, 15. You know, they run up the numbers. The point that I'm making is as they go from like 15 to 16, why don't they get caught? Like, what is it? I mean, they're doing the worst thing out. Why doesn't God just come in? You know, my old school way of thinking is like God in the sky. Why doesn't he just come in and like strike this guy down, leave a open clue as to how the detectives are gonna find him, and then boom, they gain whatever they need for the investigation, and then they arrest them. How come it doesn't unfold like that? Why do they go into like 30 kills, 35 kills? They go into high numbers, and you start to wonder, like, what is the deal? The cops sleeping? Like, what's happening? Well, the idea behind feelings getting the blessing is you got to understand that regardless of the situation, whether it be positive or negative, I can explain some positive situations to you, but I thought I'd open up with the one that you would consider to be slightly negative. And it gives you an understanding that that doesn't matter if you're on the end of not following the proper morals in life and things like that. It doesn't matter. Feelings is what gets the blessing. So when that guy, serial killer, whomever that may be, commits that first, second, third, or fourth killing and he's off to his next, he feels like he's not going to get caught. The result of what he feels is the result that you see. He breaks off scotch-free and another one happens. He feels like he's not going to get caught. So he breaks off scotch-free, and then what you expect is probably another result of what he's pushing on with, and that's exactly what happens. So why doesn't this man get caught up? Like this is the worst thing you could actually do. Now, I explained to y'all that there's only one power, there's only one cause to this. There's only one cause behind the fact that this man is breaking off scotch-free, person after person after person. Now, it's on both ends. It's in the person that actually receives the repercussion, the person killed. They manifested that on their mind. But what the killer has manifested is the fact that he is going to commit that action and break off scotch-free. He feels that and he believes that. Now, you might tell me, oh, no, he broke free because, I mean, give me the reason. Because whatever that reason is, please give it to the detectives so they can go get it and they'll go get him. Because I don't know the HOW. When there's belief behind your thought, the HOW, you're going to say, man, how is this? He killed somebody else? How? How did they not get him yet? A lot of people would be on that train of thought. How did they not get him yet? What's going on? Is the detective doing his job? Is he doing everything he's supposed to do? It's behind thought. And when someone's thought and belief overpowers your thoughts and belief, the result that's materialized is whomever had the most belief, such as the example that Silence gave when he described in the first video we dropped about the two teams. How do you explain when one team wins over another? The thought of belief is what gets you anything and everything in this world. Remember, we all can agree the power of God is what gets you everything, right? The power of God is one. It's not two. It's not three. It's not anything else out. The power of God is one. A power, and what is that one? I am. Okay. Now, when you have this situation and you're trying to, damn, I kind of lost my train of thought. Silence. Where was I at, man? I kind of lost my train of thought in the middle there. I get so deep sometimes. It gets hard. Let me see. Go on. Give me a second. Let me see if I could jog my mind and gain back what I was trying to say. I mean, but for the most part, the idea behind Your thoughts is getting you to understand that it is one. It is the one and only thing, okay? Believing in any other means that you believe in another God. You believe in another cause. You believe in another reason why things are happening to you. The things that are happening to you are only based on what you are telling yourself, only based on what you put into your mind. So
Yeah, I
just
think
keep in mind that awareness, awareness is the only God. All right, that's I am. Okay. Having you gain that understanding is definitely going to help your mind start to trigger and understand these things. I am is infinite and unconditional. Okay. I am in itself is infinite. I am leaves an impression of awareness. I am is that. It's me something. The moment you add something to it, that's when you successfully complete the puzzle. All right. It's by thought that we condition the unconditioned. It's by thinking that we form the formless God. All right. It's by thinking that you form the formless God. So ideally, you want to think about it that God has no form in itself until you form him. Okay. So I am is God. Add something to it, and it's that. That's what you become. That is what you are. That is what's within you. Utilize the power within you to become what you want to become that of which you project as I am. So best example that a lot of people like to throw out. I mean, in any way, shape, or form, it all starts from the mind. I like to utilize my example of phones. Other day, I had my little son's Nintendo Switch. You got to realize and understand that the ideas are what gets you further. All right, ideas grow, have personalities, and you always want to keep them in perspective when it comes down to how you go on about your next experience, not dwelling upon like the lower end of areas, talking about people and somewhat events to a degree, but the ideas is more so where it's at. Silence, you want to add anything to it? So,
give me 1 second.
oh, all right. So I'm gonna read through some notes that I have, and I was gonna read through the
No, no,
notes. And,
no, I'm back. I'm back. I would say
okay.
that talking about the feeling, getting the blessing is is uh is really powerful, because what happens is that feeling is closer to belief, and that feeling, you talk about how things go from thoughts, then to belief, then to feelings, and then to belief. So that's the reason why I believe that I really feel like that feeling and the blessing is gonna be is gonna be is gonna be really important, and that's the reason why that happens with feeling. People may ask, well, why doesn't thought get the blessing? Why can't I just think this? Well, when it gets down, that's the reason why it becomes so positive, powerful, is because it gets down to the feeling part of your nature, and that's really close to where belief is, and that's how. Just going back to what you were talking about with the serial killer, committing all those murders before he actually gets caught, and him not really looking at himself as doing anything wrong, allowing him to continue to do what he's doing. That's kind of what is going on in that situation. Is his feeling has gotten to the point of where he more closer to belief. He believes that he shouldn't get caught. So that's what ends up happening. Sometimes what we see, what we may want morally, may not line up with what uh, uh, we do, what we see mentally.
Hmm.
And an example of that is, an older lady who may be in the church every week. She's constantly doing everything she needs to do in order to live a happy life. And then someone sees her. Well, she ends up getting murdered, and people are like, "Whoa, what happened?" You know, like she was such a nice person. How did that happen? And people don't understand it. That lady, there's a strong possibility that that lady could have been taking in images or content, whatever it might have, whatever it was. She could have been taking something in that allowed for her to think about murders, not her being murdered, but maybe the possibility sat in her mind a few times, or maybe once, that it could possibly be her that gets murdered, and that's what would bring on that experience. It's the consciousness of it being possible, and you know, being able to happen in her life and in her experience. So that's really what that's really what I would what I just wanted to add on, just connecting to the feeling, getting the blessing.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I didn't really get to dive. We're coming up on the hour right now. I didn't get to dive exactly into some of the details that I really wanted to touch base on throughout this lesson. So what I'm going to end up doing is possibly either getting y'all smaller videos, maybe in 10-minute streams, or I'm gonna probably see if I could get up with Silence to get another live stream going, just so I could sum up some of this information that I gathered, because I think some of this is critical. I mean, I'll dive into a little bit and then I gotta go. You know, so what I did is I took a lot of notes in some of the lessons that I learned of it. In order for you to gain the most understanding about mind science itself is tackling it as if you were going to school. You're going to take notes, you're going to want to study, you're going to want to practice, and you're going to want to, you know, put it into full belief in order for it to, you know, work for you. I mean, you either get it to work for you now or it'll work on you automatically. I'm just trying to help you, like Silence said a little earlier, to take control over what's going to take control of you anyway, which is your thoughts and what goes on in the world. It's going to make that impression. So I'm going to dive into some facts. What ideally we were going to do is we were going to talk about, as I take notes, we were going to talk about in detail some of the notes that I was taking to help build an understanding and help it make more sense. But what I'll do is I'll just jog through them for those that have been in this for a whole hour now. This is going to be probably one of the most critical parts of the video, because it's going to give it to you right there in detail, not necessarily as scattered as we bring it, but it'll give it to you direct. All right. So one of the things I wanted to give y'all is that, you know, kind of what we said in my notes is going to give it to you in a more scientific form, such as man is always conditioning the unconditioned God by his thought. All right, we express to y'all who and what God is, and that is who God is to you. You make that whatever you want it to be. I gave you an understanding of what it is to me, and that gives me the understanding of what I am to become. All right, it gets me to the next level, in other words. So just knowing that your body's always conditioning the unconditioned. It's always unconditioned. Whatever you tell yourself you are is what you become. You're always wanting to be something. You're always wanting to be happy. You're always wanting to be sad. You're always wanting to be angry. You're always wanting to be something. You just need to tell yourself the right thing to be. All right? Now, knowing that man is forming, or man is always conditioning the unconditioned God by his thought, you also have to understand that man is always forming the formless God with his thought, and God becomes to you whatever you think. Okay? That's giving you the idea of God himself and how it works. Okay? It makes things become, it makes things go on. Okay? As long as you believe any person or anything has power over you, you will remain in bondage. It's a mental bondage, is the idea of looking at it. You are in bondage to the senses and limitations in your conscious state. Okay. So when you say I'm angry at that guy or thing or something like that or anything like that, you're letting that physical thing make an impression on your subconscious, and whatever and however it reflects on your subconscious, if it happens to be negative, that's the bondage that it has on your mind that doesn't allow you. You ain't thinking about goals. You ain't thinking about how you're going to make that next bag because you fixed on how angry you are about that person, and careful to not let those thoughts spill into somewhat deal of revenge, right? So just get that and know that and keep it in mind. Don't let those other things become God over you by putting power within it, by making it the cause of the experiences that you see in your daily life. All right. So that's just a little bit. I got more, right? So I want y'all to understand throughout everything that we're saying, we need to sum it up with there's no cause to material phenomena. All right. There's no cause to what you see and experience happening, whether it be you having a bad experience, good experience, that was all based on thought. What you told yourself you were, what that person told themselves they were, what they believed they were, what they became, is what the outcome ended up being. All right, is what they projected in their mind. It started in the mind and it reveals into the materialized thing. All right. It's just getting y'all to understand that God is one. Every cause, everything that happens. And then this is it. What do y'all feel like happens in the world that God's at the steering wheel, right? What do you feel happens in the world that God goes, let me go ahead and take my hands off the steering wheel. Let me let the devil come in and take the steering wheel. When does that happen? Why would he allow that? If God is God to you, God to me is perfect. Knowing that perfection equates to perfection, he wouldn't leave me at a time of struggle and need. When things start to happen to you or happen to you in general and you wonder what the cause is, where's this coming from? What's going on? Not only do you have the power to bring about the negative things that occur into your life, you have that same power to turn them around and make them positive in your life. So don't ever dwell on the bad things that occur or happen to you, because the same mind power that brought those into your experience is the same mind power you have to take them out of your experience or make that current experience better. Okay, so that's where I'm probably gonna leave off. I got a lot of things to really do. To those that are really rocking with me and understanding what I'm saying to the beginning and to the end, thank you so much. Hit that like button. But at the end of the day, I promise y'all, I'm gonna open up the next stream with the feelings getting the blessings, and we'll dive into the spiritual side, which is in relation to the biblical side. And I got a story for y'all to dive into, and we'll hear it out, build more understanding of what I'm trying to say, and we'll also tap into some experiences and things like that, because I had so much I wanted to get into, but it seems like an hour and change is just, it's not enough. So I'm gonna separate another hour out in my week schedule to see if I could drum up another stream for y'all with silence, and maybe we could go at it for another hour, giving you a better explanation of feelings getting a blessing. Because I think what today's session really dived into and tapped more on is who God is, who the DEVI is. Remember, it's both our conscious thought. God is conscious thought. And that guy you think is on the other end of the fence, on the other playing field, rooting for the bad things to happen to you. That's when you place the blame elsewhere. Don't place the blame elsewhere. Know that God is one. He's the one responsible for everything you do, have, and want to become. So with that being said, knowing that one power is it and all and everything, you got to keep in mind that following through with the power of I am is how you will see, feel, and receive that greatness that's behind the power of God, which is behind the power of I am, which is behind the power of you having the ability to do, to have, and to become anything that you want. Why? Because in the Bible, they say, let the mystic say, let the weak say, I am strong. Let me get up off this one, man. Y'all know what it is. I don't want to drop too much, man. Listen, my son will never get picked up if I keep going on. So let me go ahead and cut it short right here. Yo, Silence, you got anything you want to spill out to the people? Because I got to call it quits. We've been in for an hour and 10. I think that's enough bombs and knowledge. I got the people shifting in their seats like this. They've been hit so hard with that bat of thought. Boop. That's what I see right now. But yo, Silence, anything you want to say? Because I got to wrap it up. I got to go.
Nah, it's all good. I'm done.
All right, cool. So for the most part, like I said, run up them likes, man. Run up them likes. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the people to understand that is a reason why the likes is so high. It's a lot of sense to what I'm saying. I'm not just talking, not making sense of anything. It's really a lot of relation to what you're experiencing in your daily life. I need y'all to know and understand that. With all that being said, I need y'all to rock with me on that next stream. I promise you, the next stream, yo, it's going to be the best stream. I know I say that every stream. But at the end of the day, the only thing that is now, right? Tomorrow's always going to be tomorrow. And yesterday's always going to be in the past. So we got to deal with the now. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, we going to see the most lit stream y'all ever seen before, having to do with feelings, getting the blessings. I started it, but I'm going to answer them questions, why them bad things be popping in, you know, in relation to whatever, maybe it's something that I mentioned, like the, you know what I'm saying, serial killers or the robbers or something like that, or something that you know to be a bad experience. Why do they end up doing things and just breaking off scotch-free? All right, and they still, and you be stuck, fixed on the fact that, yo, I know they scotch-free, but they got to be feeling some type of way. They got to be angry. Yeah, you could talk all you want to talk about what you think that they feel. But until you actually go inside of their body and inside of their mind, you'll never know. They could be the happiest guy in the world after committing the most craziest offense. Next video, I'm going to talk to y'all about why that happens, why it exists, why it continues, and why people don't understand it. I'm going to get up off this one. Y'all know what it is. Silence and CG in the building. Y'all keep rocking with us. I'm out.